We're talking squatters, squatters' rights, and a squatter murder. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the brutal murder of Nadia Vittel in New York City. Welcome to True Crime Boss. I'm Jarrett Ferrantino. And if this one doesn't shake you, and this isn't the latest plague facing this country in 2024, we're breaking it down. Nadia Vittel traveled from Spain to take care of the apartment of her late mother that was left vacant on the 19th floor of an East 31st Street apartment building. Nadia traveled to that apartment, parked her Lexus outside, entered the apartment through the elevator. Reports indicate that the elevator opens right into the apartment. And she happened upon two individuals in the property. She didn't know them. Those individuals have now been charged with her murder. After 2 days, Nadia was not heard from. Her son was very concerned, knowing that his mother was at that apartment, contacted the building superintendent, Mr. Pompey. They went into the apartment with EMS personnel, and in a closet in the apartment, in a duffel bag, Nadia Vittel's body was found. She had suffered severe head trauma, according to the medical examiner. And the two occupants that she happened upon were gone, and so was her Lexus. An investigation ensued, and two individuals were identified leaving the property in Nadia's vehicle. That vehicle, on March 13th, was abandoned after a car accident in Dauphin County, where else? Pennsylvania, folks. And just days later, Halsey Tejada and Kinsley Alston were apprehended. They are currently in prison in Pennsylvania, in York County, awaiting extradition to Dauphin County, where they're charged with receiving stolen property, the property being Nadia Vittel's Lexus, and they will be extradited back to New York to face her murder charges. This case should scare the hell out of everyone. This is truly another case of an innocent person going on about a normal function of your life, going to clean your late mother's apartment to lease it out to a friend. And she happens upon two squatters. And what is a squatter? And what are squatters' rights? You hear those things thrown around all the time. Let me disavow that notion right now. Squatters' rights don't exist. They don't exist in Pennsylvania, and they technically don't exist in New York. This is a function that has been carved out of what really happens out in the street when the police are confronted with this particular situation. People out there are putting up how-to tips online on how to gain access to people's homes and gain squatting rights by manufacturing fake leases and documentation that will result in the police officers that respond to any calls, their hands being literally tied from throwing you out of that apartment. See, folks, police officers, when they get involved in a situation like that, they view it as a civil matter. Well, we can't get involved. This person has a legal document that says they're entitled to stay here. And you have a property owner saying, I don't know these people. They're trespassers. Who do you believe? Well, a police officer isn't a judge or jury. They're really in no position to make that call at that time. So a property owner is left with no choice than to have to evict these individuals from that property through the legal process, which is not easy and it ain't pretty. Or they're forced to pay these folks monies to get the hell out of the property. Think about that. Think about that today in this age in America. People are just coming in, squatting on the property of other people and claiming to have a property interest there. They do not. They're trespassers, okay? And they should be treated as such. Unfortunately, that's not how this is playing out. And you have a situation where when confronted and squatters are faced with the possibility of losing the place they're claiming as their home, they kill someone like Nadia Vittel. It becomes violent when they had no right to that property. That is a shocking, shocking crime. and a sad crime. And part of what I wanted to talk about was how can you arm yourself against somebody just showing up in your late mother's apartment, or an apartment that you've had in the family, or your home while your parents are snowbirding in Florida, people just showing up and camping out and moving in. Folks, simple things like get a surveillance camera on the property, post the property, list no trespassing. I have a sign on my property that says no trespassing. This property is under 24-hour video surveillance. And for the longest time, it was not under video surveillance. It is now. But posting your property has a legal effect. It is posted. You are making a statement to the world. No one is to trespass onto this property. It is a noticed trespass at that point. A little bit different than people just rolling into property that is not posted. Get some video surveillance so you could monitor the property. If an individual that shouldn't be there is there, call the police immediately. Raise the red flag that you have trespassers on the property. They don't have the right, and get them the hell out of there immediately. And you will avoid what happened to Nadia. She would not have been in a situation where she surprisingly happens upon these individuals. Could you imagine? She must have been scared like you wouldn't believe when she got into a place that she was probably very comfortable going into, her mother's apartment, and find two individuals she didn't know there. The reports are indicating that she was smashed against the wall. That's how she was killed, and then stuffed into this duffel bag. And her property was thrown down the garbage chute. You see, and I often say it's the little things of cases that jump out at me. Even if you were to give these squatters the benefit of the doubt, maybe they were sleeping, maybe they didn't know who Nadia was, a fight broke out. When you dump her personal belongings and then steal her car, at that point, folks, it's an intentional murder and then a robbery. That's what you have going on here. And we need to encourage the legislatures in the state and the federal government to discourage this kind of behavior. You get so tired of this bullshit. Now we got to worry about squatters' rights. How about the rights of the property owners in this country and the people that actually pay taxes? And what was life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, protect our property? What happened? What happened? Where do you think this is happening to most frequently, folks? In Chicago, in New York, where we're having homeless crisis. And this is not a statement on, my heart breaks for people that are homeless and for whatever reason. Folks, I've encountered that as a prosecutor in my life continuously. But at the same time, we cannot forget the rights of the people in this country that have a property interest in their home and should not be subject to violence by people that should not be there. They're not squatters, they're trespassers, and the law should be designed to treat them as such. This is the kind of leftist bullshit that's starting to permeate. This makes zero, left, right, it makes zero common sense. Imagine, I want to shake the hand of anybody out there that says, oh, I think this is perfectly acceptable. I want to walk into my house and have some stranger sitting there and let them claim, oh, this is my house. Who could ever think that's a good idea? Who in the hell could support this concept of squatters' rights? I want to shake that person's hand. Tell me in the comments why I'm wrong. I challenge you to tell me why I'm wrong. On the property I pay taxes on, I protect. My children lay their head at night. I should just expose it to people who claim it's their right. And then you hear things like adverse possession, lawyer words. And in Pennsylvania, let me break that down for you real quick. Adverse possession is something that, let's just say you had a property next to your neighbor and you put a fence onto your neighbor's property, for example, and it was 2 feet over your neighbor's property and you've had it there for a period of 21 years and your neighbor never contested it. It's been continuous for 21 years. Your neighbor's never made any claim to that property and it was clear you're on his property. Arguably, you can go to court and say, hey, because I've reached that 21-year mark, because it's been actual, continuous, exclusive, and open to the world, and my neighbor never told me to take it off, I want a judge to say I've adversely possessed this little bit of the property and it's now mine. That is a far cry from some person coming in off the street and laying their head in your house and claiming they have rights. It's not adverse possession, and I want to challenge anybody out there who thinks it is. It's not that, folks. So the bottom line is they're not tenants, They're trespassers. Let's not get confused. And a woman is dead. Her belongings are down a garbage chute. Her car was smashed in Pennsylvania. And now two people who are 18 years old and 19 years old will spend the rest of their lives in jail because they were exercising their squatters' rights. Folks, we need to wake up to some of what's going on in this country. And this crime should scare everyone. It should have never happened, and these people should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. We're going to continue to follow this case. Thank you.